Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Ansar Gilani, English commentator at the entire sports. Nowadays, I am working on Gilani's triangle. That is, if we are having new minds, new brains, new science and technology, and education is coming into our society, and social sciences are getting roots in our overall. The dimensions are getting changed, cultural and social values are under challenge, and something is a new rising on the surface of the Pakistan screen, and that the things are on move. Positivity and productivity is coming into limelight, and we are hoping that something is to be new happen, that is to make us able that what kind of contributions we can give to the nation at the framing and shaping of the minds. Youth is on work, and the triangle that is to be shared here is if we have a new generation must have a new ideology, and having these two contributing factors of a new generation and a new ideology must have a new leadership that should look out for the youth that is coming from universities, and they are the best brains and they are the best lords, and they have somewhat leadership skill, but political vision is not as being based as we are aware about the West. There is overall awareness and a sharper current of the awareness, making each and every person how to go off the distraction and the traction of the politics. But politics is considered to be a magnetic force, particularly in the Asiatic states, because whatever it assists us to be the megalomaniac or somewhat to running after the business pursuits, it makes us that politics is a source of business, but it is not a source of business. Rather, it is a way to make the people of the clear conscious and clear mentalities and clear visions, so that they could make their adjustabilities on their individual behalf, and collectivity uh, could be curtailed, could be cut down, and the individualistic approach is to be brought forward, and the set patterns and the set minds and the minds that are driven by the pressure groups and mafias groups, and somewhat uh, the hegemonic forces that are triggering us to keep the same track that is coming from uh, over the centuries, and is making the societies stagnate and frozen and unmoved. The people are getting birth and population is increasing, and ratio of the violence and aggression is going on and going on, but the institutions are becoming shorter and shorter. In this way, the ignorance and the poverty is going at a high rate, causing injustice and exploitation. But these all things are under move and under corrections. But the thing is that our minds are not being built up and not being patronized through top class institutions. That is all time a helping tool to make the society a powered one, a stronger one, and a visioned one. So a call of the youth rises here that the present generation must work on their own technicalities and the new demands that are coming, new challenges that are coming. And the present youth is fighting at the different frontiers of the life. it races from education to the employment and to the business entrepreneurship and to the sports and largely to the adjustabilities of all of the classes and the group of students coming from the different sections of the society and the subjects of their faculties. But the thing that we are lacking here is as to how to be carve or create such a environment that is a very mobilized one, moved one, transparent one, fair one, honest one, and the way the pure and the straightforward kind of generation that is we are at the watching, how they are to be kept in balance and how they are to be mentally and physically kept at the equilibrium so that the desperation and the frustration might be addressed at their early stage so that later the criminal tendencies could be curtailed and their futures not be at the stake, not be at the threatening state, so that they can't be the protester, rather they become the peace-loving, helping hands, sheltering to the country, and making good values and breaking bad values, and working for the positivity and going against whatever it is, scratch life or stuff life that spoils the society and turns the mind of the people. That only comes when there is distance, and discrimination, gender differences, and holistically and optimistically, if we look into the political and social and literal and educational and religious and the cultural, many of the areas are there. There need to be overhauled and but big in the making of in the maturizing of the society. Two things are highly necessary. One is strong beliefs in your values, and other is having such structure, infrastructure that be based on a finest kind of roads and communication, transportations, accessing to the remote areas of the country, reaching out to the suburbs of the country, side areas of the country, where village and metropolitan cities, the central cities, must be bridged up and the gap must be killed down, and the budgeting must be given so that if education at the standard level is not given, rest of things must be there, like education and the only education. If only education is given at the doors of the people, those who are living in the villages, they could be fruitful persons, and they could be trained enough, and they could be refined enough and sensitized enough when they will get shifted to the cities for sake of business activities and employment. They would be a better kind of citizen, a better, you can say, figures that could play a very instrumental role in the making and the rising of the nation. For this, as we have the new generation must have a new ideology, what kind of challenges are in the present age and how those challenges could be met in a technical and a tactical and a financial and in all of the sources. Then a new leadership could be given to them. Leaderships could spring from the, the academics and the universities, as we lack such and those trainers and the instructors that could make us vigilant, enlightened, progressive, and somewhat liberated from and free of any kind of prejudices and malices, and staying away from ultra competitive spirit that is somewhat spoiling inside and breaking the human traits and human values on which the human race is traveling from centuries to the present age. So it needs to be as to how we are to diagnose the present generation, to look out for their prospects, look out for their futures plans, because no nation could be a solid and stronger and a high-footed until it would not save the future of the generation, or present generation. There is a going generation, and there is a present generation, and there is coming generation. So the present and the future, that is very, very necessary, that to be watched, that to be prepared for, and that to be protected, that to be facilitated. It could only be made facilitated and made easy when we have the leaderships, those leadership who are having vision and somewhat a stronger kind of policy makers, while strategists, good ground players that could understand the ground realities, and they could have the access right to the bottom, to the top of the echelons of the society. They should have a closer and a complete sense and sensibility and attachment and a reaching capacity that keep the rulers and the governors of the state in picture. So good governance could only come when a youth is rated well, and when youth is facilitated and youth is patterned on such lines that the latest scientific and technological driven changes are coming on, that is needed to be cope up. If we would have the visionless leaders that would just consider as a rudderless the boatmen that they are having without direction, and they could let their passengers to be sunk into the water or drowned into the water. So vision needs to be patronized on modern grounds, because the more scientific and technological involvement is coming, electronic media and print media is playing a very vital role in giving off the minds aware of the what's going on around the world. We are getting aware of all the what's present on the globe, but when we come out to expose ourselves, expose our capabilities and capacities, and express ourselves, and to pace up with the rest of the world, we lack exposures, the forums that could raise the voice of the youth. They could be the viceroy to them, middle force to them, middle source to them, that could bridge up them at the common mass and to the ruler's class. So distances must not be there. Civil society must come forward, be aware of what's going around and what they knew in a very close way, and they could bring the things in a better way. Media not to be only a official one, it to be a socialized one. We should step down and should come out of the drawing rooms, come out of the only political circles where they are just worshipping the high idols of the politics. What they are paying to them, their all of the channels are truly plugged to the those ones, those who are highly gambit players, and they just hire the speakers, hire the brains, they give them the services, and they pay them well, and their each and everything is sold out. Our ideology and vision must not be sold out. It must be the part of the civil society, part of the every individual present in us. This age is the age of individualism, where economic uh, independence is coming on, and the more and more economic independence is coming on, the people are becoming independent at the handling of the life. They are becoming the driver of their own being, the driver of their families, and the driver of their all out what they are to get and what they are to uh, deliver back to the where from the things are coming to them to be the man of part of that class that is ruling us. So new generation with new vision must come with the new leadership that could only come from the universities. A repeated point is here, but the thing is that how we can bring those people into the universities that would have the the leadership qualities, leadership skills that could transfer the right things that are based on history, based on our culture, based on our foremost religio mindsets, but that one not be only the tribal instinct working over there, rather modernized and socialized, sensitized, and playable to the living beings present on a particular planet of Earth, a particular area where the people are having a particular shape and frame and a size of the population, living in a particular territory, living in a particular mentality that needs to be linked up with the mainstream. But the greatest catastrophe or the phenomena that we face in the present age, that after breaking the regional and provincial and geographical and linguistic and any kind of differences that are present at the local level, when they reach at the height, they step into desert. They step into a directionless life. They step into a visionless, and their life become a desert life. Uh, the life at the scratch, life at the early stage is already at the, you can say, somewhat suffering is there. But after battling all of the sufferings, when a best lot or the best brains or minds reach at the heights to serve the nation, they are not entertained. Their ways are blocked and locked, and the barriers plenty of are on their way. And this way, best brains go shifted into other countries. So we are losing the best, not only the lot, rather best brains, best asset. That could be a best one investment into the future. So we have very serious reservations. Pakistan traveled around 70 years, and after going through for last 50 years, and from new millennium that took start from 2000, we got a new generation, entirely different than the 50 years ago were what we were uh, living and enjoying. So we went through two kinds of phases. Uh, a gulf difference is coming on. What the senior generation of 1947 that went through the blood and sacrifices and many of the troubles, and they become our heroes. They, they stay before us like demigods, and we are here not knowing about them. The cultural flash that came with 2000, when electronic media and print media erupted into our society, that entirely engaged the new generation with subjects that are truly based on a new shifter from traditional to a physical sciences, mean a professionalism came into us. And but the crux that the phenomena that we face, that we have been handed over to a very fast pace of the life, where training was not as much given, where we could stay a stronger and how to survive at the slippery world. And we are truly standing at the values point of view at the bananas. Neither you are to go slipped and neither you are to stay a while. Rather you are to go deep footed, deep seated in your values. But the thing is that there is a gulf difference between the religio and the liberal. So liberals gonna crafted from 2000 and onward, and this generation is facing uh, a crisis of vision and a crisis of ideology. They know the religion, but they are not finding and seeking out those the moral figures and the moral authorities that would have been authorized and have been trained enough that they could understand the challenges of the modern age, and where we are to understand the religion in a new way. We are not to change the religion, rather we are to change the things with the impact of the religion. And before to step into new zone where new generation, new ideology and new leadership is to be given, we have to first of all raise the question of religion. What's a religion? And why a religion? And for what religion? And what is the role of religion in an individual's life? What is the role of religion in a collective life? And what's the role of religion in making and breaking of the new scenarios and new social strategies? And what's the role of religion in the international communities? How religion could play a vital role in highlighting such pitfalls and deficient areas where characters are at fault, and with the spread and flash of scientific education that is sharpening our minds and making our hearts dull one and the frozen one, and our human traits like uh, element of sacrifice, element of generosity, and element of tolerance, and element of integrity and solidarity, and element of brotherhood, and element where we are to be elevated and we are to go above all of the differences. This only teaches us the religion. But the the misconceptions that are presently present within the minds of the youth that are only due to lacking those visionless leaderships and visionless the people that are to understand what the changes in a faster way coming us and uprooting us and making us unstable, and it's truly troubling us. But the thing is that curiosity is there, thirst of true religion, true spirit, true leadership, true guidance, and a true commandship is needed. That needs somewhat more uh, a ready mind, a built mind that could understand the present problems in the present context and in the challenges that are rising the day after day, years after years, and mean the events after events, things are coming on, and we are becoming the visionless and tactless and taking the things at two different zones. That religion is the individual matter and which doesn't deal with the state affairs. But if it applies on our overall life, we have a complete framework. We have a complete system through which each and everything is screened out and studied out, trained enough, made enough a person to rise in life, live in life, go with life without having some trouble at the intellectuality and at the demanding of the physical changes on and that are fastly leaving impression upon our minds and hearts. So, so is the need of the hour that our leaders must pay attention to the rising forces that are the youth of the age and their challenges and their foremost adjustabilities as their likeness or dislikeness or with their professional efficiencies, and there should be the conduction of the counseling centers and sectors and professional guidelines, clinical counselings, and all those arsenals must be followed and adopted and ways to be followed that needs at the present age. So one must be the surgeon of the age, surgeon of the modern age, and surgeon of the future challenges, and that could diagnose the things and could bring it to it and could make a path that would lead to success of the present generation that only comes from the reading of the present age, reading of the present challenges, reading of the present pitfalls, reading of the present resources, and reading of the population's growth and the flood that is coming on, and how we are to uh, address the plights and the miseries present in the people on dint of ignorance and poverty and injustice and exploitation that is coming out so rapidly. So for this all, at the Gilani's triangle, the, the, the present generation, a new generation, is to be addressed with new ideology, mean what ways to be adopted to address and to tackle and handle the present generation, and then to the new leaderships that could understand the problems and could meet them at the spot, or they could put into channelization that will bring them to the betterment of the society, for the welfare of the society, for the making of the brains peaceful, so that we could produce a peace-loving society. Thank you very much.